This is a very quick clip to show what you'll be making. Essentially what we're going to be having is a Raycast on our hand, and we're going to be able to interact with area 3Ds, and we're going to be able to interact with static bodies. And that will allow us to just, delete objects or in any sense interact with objects when we want to. And hello everyone, NadLabs here, and today we're going to be working with VR pointables in Godot 4.3. And as you can see over here, it says 4.3, and let's just get started. So I'm creating a new project from scratch, and I'm going to show you how to set up Godot VR, which I'll do super quickly, and then I'll show you how to do the actual pointable with a hand and tracker and actually make it detect collisions and do things once it's actually detected a collision. So we're going to go through this setup process very quickly. So we're going to do, world, enter, save scene, and then we're going to make a new scene, and we're going to call this player, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an XR camera. And then it tells me there's a few issues. XR camera may not function without XR Origin 3D node as its parent. So what I have to do is XR Origin 3D, and then it's giving me an error as well, which says XR Origin 3D requires camera 3D. Okay, Origin 3D requires camera 3D. So I'm just following the basics kinda. Over here it says that you have to enable shaders and stereoscopic output, which we'll do in a second. But what I want to do is I just want to save my player over here. Go to my world, and I want to just instantiate my player. Cool. I also want to make a simple world. So we have the world itself, but inside the world, I want to have a scene to handle all the 3D objects that we have, which you will see in a second. We're going to have the simple world, or the small world, I guess. Smaller world. And in the smaller world, we're going to have our mesh instances. So we're going to have our plane to, have our player be a part of that plane. So I'm just going to click R to extrude, or to stretch it. Oh my god, Blender vocabulary is getting to me. So just stretch it out. And then also I want to do it again. This time in the negative Z direction, because that seems to be forwards in VR or most 3D scenes. So over here, I'm just making it 90, as you can see, which means if I zoom out, you can see that I am easily able to, just see the flat screen in front of me. So if I just save the smaller world, go over here, instantiate smaller world, and I have my player up here, so I'm just going to drag my player up. My player will see this flat surface, and then they will also see this giant wall in front of them where they can select things like a menu. In VR, of course. So next, I also want to add a XR controller, and I'm only going to do one hand just for simplicity's sake. Although I will, I'll do both hands just to make sure it works. So I'll do left hand here, and I'm going to add a mesh instance, and I'm going to make a simple, let's do a simple box, just so we know which direction our hand is pointing. And I'm going to make this box super small. Anyways, I'm going to drag my little hand, my left hand, over here to the side of my camera. So this is left, and I'm just going to click Control D to duplicate and drag this over to the right. And I'm going to name this right hand. And I'm going to do what this tells me, which is, enable stereoscopic output. So go to project settings, and I just scroll down, and I will see, where the hell is it? Oh, open XR. So, and obviously enable that. Head mounted stereo, everything is cool. And then hand tracking is on. And then we also want to enable shaders and obviously save and restart. But before you click save and restart here, make sure you save your entire project and scene and everything. So save and restart. Cool, you saw a flash in my background, super cool. Now that we're back in our game, we can click F5 to run. Hopefully my microphones don't change. Okay, cool. Running for the first time. We should, in a second, not see anything. And why? It's because Godot will actually tell us if we wait patiently, but it says no viewport was marked to use with XR. And that's because if we go to our player, we can see that our camera is not enabled. So it's not set to current, but that's not the issue. What I want to do is I just want to go to player, and in my player scene, I just want to get rid of everything here, and I want to go to XR documentation, and I'm in 4.3. 4.4 is about to be released around the time of this recording, but should be almost exactly identical. But you want to just scroll down until you see the first script on this link, which I will also be providing in the description below. And I just want to copy this. I'm going to go back to Godot, and I'm going to paste it. Everything looks like it should work. I also have a video setting up this exact process, but same concept, same idea. And now we have OpenXR initialized, and I'm going to go over here and grab my Rift, which is my headset of choice at the moment. And I'm going to just put on the headset, and I'm going to look around. You can see my hands in both Steam and Godot, so that's pretty cool. And on top of that, I will be a bit quieter because I'm away from my microphone. But cool, you can see my hands, but you can't see the world around me, and I'm like turning left and right, but you can't see it. That's because I forgot to add a directional light, which I will do right now. So I'm going back over here to my smaller world. I'm going to add a directional light. I'm going to click Control F2 to go back to the scene. Click F to focus on the light, move the light up. What I want to do is I want to grab the blue bar and I want to grab the rotate. I'm going to select rotation, rotate the red actually until it hits the floor. And if I Control S to save the scene and go back to Godot. The reason why I'm not seeing the floor is because I accidentally forgot to run the world scene, and instead I'm just running the player scene. So I have to go to my project settings and I have to quickly change the run from player to the world. So I'm just going to close this and I'm going to click F5 to run the selected scene, and that will be my current main scene. So going forward, you can see we have our plane and we have my hands, my other hands here, my left, right. We have this like plane in front of me, which is pretty cool. And we have this giant board that I want to select things from, but I can't with these flimsy little cubes as hands. So I'm going to show you how to like select things, and I'll include area 3Ds and collision or static body 3Ds, and static body 3Ds extends to the kinematic 3Ds and all other physics bodies, and then area 3Ds are their own, and I'll show you how to do both with Raycast 3D, which I'll show you how to make it interact with this hand. So I'm going to place these on my desk. To get started with the hand aspect, we're going to select the hand that we actually want the Raycast to be on. And I want it to be on my left hand. So I'm going to select my left hand control over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have this select mode enabled. And I'm just going to click Control A to add a Raycast 3D. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that the target position is like negative 50 meters ahead of me. It doesn't really matter as long as it's pretty far ahead of you. Of course, if you're going to set it to like negative like a trillion, then you'll have some performance cost, and you won't have a really good game. But if you don't care, or if you are setting up a really simple scene, or maybe if you have a sword, you'd want to have this at like -2. That would be important because you don't want your sword to extend out to infinity. But I'm just going to do -50 for a simple UI that doesn't seem to have any performance issues from testing, at least from my testing. And I'm going to also go to collide with, and I'm going to select areas, and I'm going to select bodies just to make sure I can interact with both. Now, that's all I have to do in the scene. And now we have to go to our player script, or not our player script, but I want to go over here to my controller. And so I want to go over here to my controller and type in left-hand controller. And I also want to name it the Raycast, or let's just name it left-hand controller for simplicity's sake. And I'm going to attach a script. So left controller. And what I want to do is every physics process function. So that means every single physics frame, I want to go if is Raycast.3D is colliding, then I want to print is colliding like this. That's all I want to do. If it's colliding, tell me it's colliding. Cool. I want to go here to my smaller world, and I actually want to add some buttons or elements to this scene to make it, actually work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make two scenes that you can kind of copy and follow along. One is I'm going to make the area 3D scene. So start a new scene, add area 3D, and I'm going to add a collision shape, and I'm going to add a mesh instance. So I use Control A both times, and you can see it kind of parented off of one another. So I'm just going to grab mesh instance. I'm going to drag it onto area 3D. So they're both children with each other. So these two are siblings. I'm going to set our mesh instance for area 3D to a simple sphere, or a sphere, and I'm going to go over here to my collision shape and do the exact same thing. Sphere. Okay, cool. So now I have let's say this is a simple button, I guess, a button area button. That makes more sense. Area button 3D, and I'm going to Control S to save. Cool, we saved it. And then I'm also going to go over here and I'm going to go make a static body 3D. I'm going to go here and make a static body 3D. I'm going to add a collision shape 3D, and I'm going to add a mesh instance. Again, I did the exact same mistake, which I want you to note, which is, it's not really a mistake. It doesn't really matter even, but I just think it's better if you have your static body 3D and then you have your collision shape like this. And we're going to make it a square, a cube. And then we're going to make our mesh instance a cube as well, or a box as they like to call it. And that's cool. I'm gonna name this static body 3D exactly the same name it was given at the start, and we have our two aspects. So I'm going to go over here to smaller world, and I'm going to click on the parent scene, or the parent node, sorry, and I'm going to click area 3D button, area button 3D, and I'm just going to drag it up against this plane, and we have our first interactable component. And I'm going to go over here to smaller world, and I'm going to type in StaticBody 3D. I'm going to focus on it, and I'm going to go drag it over there to the wall, and we have our two aspects that we can kind of UI interact with in Godot using our VR hands. Now, the key point that I want to mention here is, just for testing purposes, I'm going to go to debug and I'm going to click visible collision shapes. That's important because what I want to do is I want to actually visualize me interacting with these aspects. So if I go into VR real quick, okay, headset on, and you can see that I have my Raycast working. Let me just double check you can see what I can see. So I have a Raycast working in my hand. And I'm going to go over the static body, and you can see I get is colliding printed. And if I go over here to my area 3D, yes, area 3D, you can see I'm getting is colliding again. So now we can interact with these objects in VR. What I want to do is, I also want to do a simple signal, which is in the ready function. I want to go and say connect signal. So what do I want to do? Button pressed, or let's just go over here to the node real quick. If we go over here to our signal and we see button pressed, it actually has a name or a string of the button that we're trying to press. So if we do button pressed and we're not sure what we want to do, we can do to callable, like, I don't know, button pressed on left controller, and flags, there's no flags. So if we go like this, we have connected a signal, but we have to connect it to a certain function, which I'm going to go do over here. And what I want to do is I'm just going to pass in the exact same parameter over here. So name string. So I'm going to do name string. I'm going to type everything I see. And I'm just going to do print name. So what does this let me do? Well, if I click F5 to run, and hopefully my computer doesn't explode again. Okay, cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to press a button, like, I don't know, the B button or anything. And you can see nothing's happening. So I'm looking for the touch one, so you can see that there's a click and touch. So what's the difference? Well, for this controller in specific, and I feel like a lot of controllers have it, but there's a touch one, which is when you get close to it, when you're touching it, and then there's a actual click. So I'm looking for click, and if I'm colliding and I'm clicking, I want that to be deleted. So that's a very simple, like, gun game you can make in VR, and I'm going to show you how to make that in like three more minutes. So with my headset right here, patting my headset, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say if name is equal to let's see, trigger touch. Okay, if name is equal to trigger touch, then let's say I want my left hand to be in. So I actually went on a little tangent there and recorded a bunch of stuff I shouldn't have, but I want to get the collider, so I'm going to do var c is equal to raycast.get collider. And this confused me for the longest time, but this is a very, very simple way of saying if the Raycast is colliding. So if my Raycast is colliding, I'll get rid of that so it doesn't piss anyone off. If the Raycast is colliding and I'm in an active state, then I want to get the collider. Like, what am I colliding with? Can I put that into a variable C? And then what I want to do is I want to do C dot, instead of doing an active state, I'm going to do an active pointed object. So active pointed object. And I'm going to set this equal to null at the start. In fact, I'm not going to set it to an exact type because it won't have an exact type during runtime. Which means I don't know what I'll be pointing at. Like, will it be a box, enemy? I don't know. So I'm just going to leave it as a blank type. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say actively pointed object is equal to C. Cool. And if Raycast is not colliding, so if it's not colliding, then C is equal to null. Okay. So here's the kicker. If we are pointing at something, so if name equals trigger click, like if we just click the trigger, and if we have an active pointed object, then what I want to do on the active pointed object, I just want the object queue free. That's all I want to do. And if I release it on the object, nothing happens. So this means that C is obviously not declared in the current scope that you're in, because this is your current scope and you should only have access to this variable. And what we can do is we can make a very simple setup where if I'm hovering over it, nothing happens, but the second I click it, something's gone, and boom, gone. It's a very simple and very easy to set up your system so that when you click, it's gone. And the best part about this, because this logic is so reusable, what we can do is we can go over here to our world, in our smaller world, and what we can do is, if we click Control F2, we can go to the 3D scene, and what we can do is we can just instantiate a bunch of them, and we can instantiate a bunch of them more. And we have a bunch of area 3Ds and a bunch of static body 3Ds. and we can just go ahead and press on them in VR and get everything to work. So I'm just going to recenter my keyboard because I moved it because of the VR headset. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to step back for a bit, or I'm going to step in VR. So I'm actually going to wear this. I'm not going to do the handhold trick. And I'm in VR. You can see I have both my hands. I'm looking around. And let's say this is the menu that pops up. And, you know, I want to select 1, 2, 3, 4. I missed. Can you imagine? So this is like the start of a simple VR gun game. And you could like dodge or something, you know, to add to the rhythm of it or whatever. And this is kind of like Beat Saber at this point, but you'd have to do a bit of work with colliding with the ground. But that's essentially how you would make something like this in VR, or Godot VR to be specific. And that's about it to this tutorial. That's all I have to say. I apologize for the little confusion with the active state there. That's entirely my fault. Anyways, with that being said, have an amazing day, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video. If this video helped you out, or it looked interesting, or you watched till the end, I hope you enjoy the bloopers afterwards. And with that being said, if there are bloopers, and with that being said, have an amazing day. In the world, I want to have the actual... Anyways, once we are reloaded back into our scene, sorry, my mouse does that sometimes. It's part of Windows Power Tool. Windows Powers... Oh, okay. So I'm going to say that you can jump to this part of the video if you want. Actually, no, I won't say that. Anyways. Is colliding. And sorry, my phone did ring. And I'm just going to do is colliding. Oh my god, I can't spell. I ran the scene for no reason, but... Okay, quit stream VR for a sec.